Wow. Great question. So Twitter right now has got about 7 million users. Now again, that'll double by the end of the year. There is an option to change language. So when you go to Twitter, it is being used in multiple languages. So if it works in China, I really don't know at this point what the actual usage like is in China. Certainly, I think this service, the way it works, will be global, and it continues to grow globally. But it is available in multiple languages. So I think it's the same way you would use it. So you can see here. So you can see here the only language they're making it available now is English and Japanese. And that's just a great question. I didn't expect that one to come in. So the best way to answer that question is I don't know if it's useful in China at this point. It will ultimately grow, I'm sure, in China. They obviously have to add the language there first. But predominantly right now, this is a North American tool. Can you sign up as a representative of your company to tweet? Another good question. This is again how Twitter is going to make money. So companies actually can't control it. You can go sign up your company and just start tweeting on behalf of your company basically right now, which is obviously a little bit scary because anyone can go use your name. Now, Oprah, for example, there's actually about 25 Oprahs on there. So there's a variety of different Oprahs. I think that starting it, you don't have to ask to start it basically. So you could do a short form for your careers page, for example. Again, I do want to mention this is so brand new as far as the usage of it that the evolution of this service over the next 3 months will be substantial. So my guess is you'll have admin functions to add multiple people that can tweet on behalf of that account, and it'll continue to grow internationally. So the next question here, what are all the costs associated with using this as a recruitment tool? It is free, 100% free right now, so there's no cost to it whatsoever. They've made a promise that they're always going to have it free as it exists today. There will be corporate accounts over time that you'll likely have to pay $50 a month for, $100 a month for, to put multiple users on behalf of that Twitter account. Next question, do you see mobile tweeting have an impact on recruiting? Another fantastic question. I'm getting drilled here. This is great. The mobile tweeting piece, first of all, in Canada, unless you got an iPhone, it's tough to set up your Twitter account with your cell phone. As far as the impact on it, I do see a major impact on where social media is going right now on the job boards. I personally think the major job boards are absolutely spinning right now on how to go deal with these new competitors that could potentially come into the market. If Facebook entered the job board space next week, they would choose so much market share away in about a month. And the reason being is I actually think the platform to post jobs on Facebook is better than Monster. In the sense that you're actually then leveraging the power of your network then that way. So I think that the impact on mobile tweeting and so forth, absolutely. I mean, you've got the ability to share information real time now versus having to go through potentially a lengthy process to go post a job. So I think it's got a huge impact, and you can communicate with your followers at lightning fast speeds here this way. Next question we've got, what has been your success rate for recruiting on Twitter? Again, a great question. We don't know at this point. We absolutely do not know. There are tools being developed for Twitter to give you a better handle on where your information is coming from and who's actually visiting it. We actually don't do a lot of, as I mentioned, with the nature of our business, we operate within or under our client's brand. So we don't necessarily post jobs under their brands. We wouldn't post them on ours. So what we've found Twitter to be the most useful for is just flat out employment branding and advertising. We are tracking hits that are coming to the site. Twitter is driving a ton of traffic for us, for our clients, to their career sites, and we're tracking that using Google Analytics on the back end of the career sites. How much time do you recommend to spend on Twitter? Daily, weekly? I've seen some people spend all day long. You could literally get trapped into this information superhighway and spend all day on it. What I'd recommend is you try to make sure that you're consistently using it. Maybe if you spend 5 minutes a day to just take a quick look, kind of make it part of your morning routine. Post your jobs in there whenever your jobs come up. I would recommend you repost your jobs on a consistent basis, because your Twitter post will disappear into cyberspace after about 2 or 3 days. It won't show up anywhere. So you want to be retweeting your own posts. So I'd recommend that you definitely want to familiarize yourself with it, because if you want to be on the front cutting edge of where recruitment's going, I think understanding these social tools are going to be critical to that learning. What is the best way to use Twitter on your corporate website, or should you? I would be driving followers on your Twitter page. I think you can communicate with your potential candidates and your potential customers so much more effectively through Twitter than you can through a website. Your website's content's not going to change that much unless you've got a blog. Your Twitter page, on the other hand, can change 15 times a day. So what I'd be doing is I would be trying to drive everyone that visits your site. I'd drop a little Twitter widget on there, and you can see here our home page. What we've got here is join us on Twitter, for example. And you can also see what we've done is you can see I've dropped in a feed here on the left-hand side. So I'm obviously trying to drive traffic to our Twitter page, because I can do a much more effective job with communicating with my followers, whether they're candidates or whether they're potential customers, on Twitter. I don't know why this is not popping up, but this should give a feed of everything on my site. So you can see again here, follow us on Twitter. So I would be putting these widgets everywhere and trying to drive candidates and drive customers or potential customers to that Twitter feed, so you can communicate with them more frequently. How do followers actually build up? Is it like Facebook where you can search and add people to your followers? Absolutely, great question. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to log back in here. So, let's see here. So I'm going to do a search again. And I'm going to look for people who are talking about recruiting, because that's applicable to my business. And let's see, ThoughtForm is recruiting open positions. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Senior information designer, view contact at. So this would be a great way for me to go message to back out. So I'm going to go ThoughtForm it. I'm going to say follow. So they're going to get a message to know that Mindfield Group, a recruiting process outsourcing firm in Vancouver, is following them. Let me go back here. Who else? I should really get my recruiting bonuses. Let's see here. So, again, so Jill looks like she's a sourcing expert. So you can see her is looking to help any company, individual needing sourcing, screening, candidate development, and diversity recruiting. Follow. Now, what likely happens is if I have interesting content, I'm looking for people that are going to be interested. I'm going to follow people that I'm interested in. But likewise, I'm going to have content that they're going to be interested in following, so the chances are that Jill may come back and follow me herself. Or, for example, ThoughtForm Inc. may also say, okay, I'm interested, they go look at my page, and all of a sudden, if you look at how I'm trying to brand myself and our company, if you look at my posts, I'm trying to brand ourselves on recruiting. So I've got the next monster, right? Reviewing candidate sourcing strategies. Let's see here. Tweet yourself to better employees. I've got a webinar on how to use Twitter that they just use specifically on how to do recruiting. So there's a little bit of witchcraft behind this, right? But that's basically the long-winded answer to that question. I got another question here. Can you use Twitter to send out job postings that direct applicants to your company website when you don't have time to follow others? Just use it as a job posting site. Absolutely. So I would recommend every single job that you've got posted on your Twitter page, and you want to be using Adjix to go drive them back to your careers page. Regarding the followers stuff, you may have a tough time gaining followers if you're not following anybody. So you've got to make sure your content's being pushed out. And following is really quite simple. You can do a search on types of people like I just did and go follow 150 people. You can actually click on 150 people, and it takes you maybe 5 minutes to go follow 150 people. So that's what I'd recommend on that one. If you have a company Twitter account, how many people are allowed to tweet? I think we already had that question, so I apologize, but that question is basically Twitter uses one login and one password. So if you want multiple people to tweet on behalf of that company, then you've got to make sure that they've all got the access to the username and password. So as I mentioned, our Minefield Group Twitter page has actually got 3 or 4 people who can go post on behalf of Minefield Group. Next question, Facebook was a fad and is now starting to fade away. What is the estimated lifespan of the Twitter fad? Contrary to belief, Facebook is not fading actually. Facebook is still seeing good solid growth. They're not seeing 2,000% growth because it's very difficult to do that when you've got 100 million users. Facebook continues to grow. And I actually believe Twitter will continue to grow as well with it. And I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a fad, because the one core difference between the old social sites and so forth that they had before was it was essentially a fad, and you could easily go just log off of it and go somewhere else. I cannot easily go rebuild this, and I think as long as information is important to share, Twitter will still be around. Now they've got competitors trying to come after them, but they've also got some of the brightest names and people in Silicon Valley backing them to make sure that they don't fail. Facebook, again, is one of those things where I don't think it's a fad, because you're always going to want to share your pictures with your friends. You're always going to want to go connect with your friends. You're always going to know what they're up to. So as Facebook continues to grow, albeit not at exponential rates that they used to, they're still growing at a very, very fast pace. And I think what they represent, and why they're not a fad, is they represent very, very core fundamentals of social behavior. I want to know what my friends did last week. I want to know if they had a good time. I want to know what the pictures look like of the party that I missed out on. I want to know what recruiting experts in the industry are talking about. So this is, again, another way. I don't necessarily know if they're a fad. I think that, 5 years from now, there's maybe the web changes, and there's other companies that pop up. But I think Facebook and Twitter are here for a very long time. Next question here. I've got about 3 minutes left. Can you delete your tweets if you decide you don't want them on your homepage anymore? You know what? I don't actually even know that. Let's try. Let's see here. Yeah, trash. Delete this update. Next question, do people typically use their real names? I don't know if there's a standard. I mean, I think if you want, depending on what your objectives are from a branding perspective, I think that if you've got a company, you don't want to name it something crazy. As an individual, I use my personal name as my Twitter account. Some people have used code names. Your name still shows up. You just may have a different username. So it's really about preference from your perspective. What I've seen is it's probably a mix of everything. People are making up fake names. People are using their real names. But what I would recommend, if you're starting a Twitter page for career company-based information, you want to make sure that you're pretty accurate on that description of your name. So there's a couple other questions that we'll certainly try to follow up with here at a later date. I want to thank everybody for the webinar here today and taking part. It's always great to see that we had a good, consistent following throughout it, so that tells me that the content was valuable. What I encourage you to do, if you are interested in how we can support you in your retail recruiting or your salary level recruiting, sign up on our Contact Us webpage on our site, and we'll have someone reach out to you immediately to give you a bit of an overview of what it is that we do and how we do it. I hope this provided some insight. I really encourage you all to go start up an account and start testing it, and at the very least start posting your jobs that way. We are doing consistent webinars, so we'll be doing another one in about 30 days or so. The topic will be announced in the next couple weeks, so we certainly encourage you to visit us back. And again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thanks very much. Bye.